Good morning. How's everybody doing?
Jeff, does this not pump you up in the morning?
Hell, I'm pumped up when I wake up anyway. It's Daytona 500 day. If you're not pumped up, something's wrong with you. You know, this is it's a big race. It means a lot to everybody. There's a lot of people that have a chance to win this race today. I certainly feel like we're one of them. And you know, not only is it the biggest race of the year, it's the first race of the year. So this starts our quest for you know, for a championship. And same day, it's a great day to try to get yourself in position to win a championship, and it's a great day to get a Daytona 500 win. So a lot going on in one day.
Well, your car looks great for today's race. How do you feel about maybe bringing home a win?
We feel really good. I mean, we've run well all weekend. We've qualified fast. We won Thursday, and you know, every practice we've been first or second fastest. And of course, every practice I've had a teammate pushing me, so that has a lot to do with it. But you know, that's what it's going to take. I mean, it's going to take somebody that's willing to work with you, and you're willing to work with them. And honestly, that's you know, that's going to be the name of the game today. So I feel like we're in good shape there. We have, you know, 3 great teammates. I've spent a lot of time working with Kevin and Clint. I haven't spent much time with Paul just because of the way things have shaken out. But you know, I feel really good that we can help each other out.
I got to ask, you've been racing a long time. What is your most memorable racing moment?
Oh, that's a tough question. Yeah, it is a tough question. I tend to, especially on the days of the race, I tend to be looking at the future, not the past. But you know, I've been lucky enough to be involved in some really cool races, won some really close ones. You know, honestly, right now it's hard to pull that out of my head. But I've been, you know, I love what I do, and I've been fortunate. You know, a lot of the wins I've had have been really, really close wins. Racing Matt Kenseth at Dover for the win, racing him at Texas for the win. Those are really important and special to me because I respect Matt so much and what they've been able to do. You know, but there's been a lot of cool moments.
Well, speaking of the future, what goals have you set for yourself and for your team for this year?
Well, it's pretty simple. It's win a championship. I mean, that's you know, we last year was really frustrating. If you look at the lap sled, if you look at the you know, all those kind of things, we were a top 5 team. We finished 12th in points. Put ourselves in position. You know, I was in position to win more races last year than I've ever been in any year of my life. Years where we won 5 races, 4 races. I was in more positions last year than all those years, and it never happened. So that was really frustrating. I think our frustration showed toward the end of the year. Kind of, you know, just started pushing too hard, trying to make stuff happen, and that didn't work out for us. So, you know, the goal for us is to get back to who we are, race the way we know how to race, put ourselves in position to win races, try to execute on those, and then you know, win a championship. I mean, it's that means a great deal to me to be considered a champion in this sport. I feel like we have the right stuff to do it, and you know, that's the goal.
You have an incredible sponsor. I mean, Kat, I was actually on your website last night, and there were some pictures of you next to some of these incredibly huge, I don't even know if they're trucks. I mean, tell us a little bit about your sponsor.
No, they're not.
I don't know what they are.
They're big pieces of equipment. There's some of that stuff that you can actually, you know, there's actually a few pictures of me standing inside of a wheel of vehicles. That's how big they are. Actually, there's a picture of me and Richard Childress standing in one of them together. Then there's one of their loaders. We took a team shot, and it's like 30 of us standing in the bucket of a truck. I mean, you know, that's a pretty big piece of equipment. I've been lucky enough to run some of the equipment. They let me, actually I helped excavate part of the front straightaway here at Daytona, the pit road. I helped tear down the old suites in Michigan. That was a hell of a lot of fun.
Really?
Oh yeah, man, get in a piece of equipment and knock stuff down. That's a good day right there. I mean, that's fun. But you know what's amazing about that stuff is that, you know, when you watch someone run a piece of equipment, it looks really easy, you know. They make it look effortlessly, but man, that's hard. I mean, it's hard to do it. It really is. Those operators are incredible.
Well, I have to ask you, I know that we're at a big track right now. I mean, do you like racing the big super speedways, or do you like more of the like Bristol tracks?
You know, I don't care. You know, I think the cool thing about our series is that we run on a lot of different kind of racetracks. I mean, honestly, that's what makes our series great. Is that, you know, I know Texas and Charlotte look a lot alike, but they're nothing alike. Atlanta looks like, you know, Charlotte, they're nothing alike. So the fact that we run a lot of different races to me is really cool. I mean, you just look at the first part of our year, Super Speedway, then we go to Phoenix, then we go to Vegas, then we go to Bristol. You know what I mean? That's variety, and honestly, I think that's what makes it exciting to do. I think that's what makes it exciting to watch. So I enjoy the challenges of every racetrack. Every racetrack has its own personality, and every racetrack requires a different mindset, a different skill set, and trying to figure all those, and they change all the time, by the way. So trying to keep up with that's really fun. That's what's enjoyable.
You've been coming here to Daytona for a lot of years now. What's the difference from when you first started to now?
You know, it's the main thing that's not different is what it means to win the Daytona 500. You know, this is it. I mean, this is our biggest race. It means the most because of the history. You know, I think it's this track, and then Darlington is a real close second, and again Darlington because of the history. But you know, when you step back and think about this racetrack, you know, just step back 50 years ago. And imagine, you know, racing on the beach and doing all that stuff, and then some crazy guy saying, we're going to build a 2.5-mile high-bank paved racetrack. Think about that. I mean, you had to know people thought he was insane. The only big track at that time was Indy, and it was a flat racetrack. I mean, this was a 32-degree banked. I mean, you know, that was insane. So when you think about it, and this was all swampland. I mean, this wasn't something you could build on, and to think that you could turn, you know, that dream into this is just an incredible. To me, it's incredible, and you know, that to me makes this race really special.
Well, I have to ask you. I mean, we have a grueling schedule this year. And how do you stay in shape, and how do you stay like motivated mentally and physically?
Well, the motivated part's easy. You know, I love what I do. That's the easy part. Where it gets a little harder is when you the things you have to do to prepare. You know, you can't, if you're going to be at your best, you can't just show up on Friday morning. You got to be into this thing 24/7. You got to be willing to work. You got to be willing to train hard. You got to be willing to watch video. You got to be willing to spend time with the team. It's all those things, the commitments that those boys are drinking this morning, I think. The commitment it takes to be really good is more than I think most people realize, and it's not a Friday through Sunday job, nor should it be. This is the highest form of racing. It's supposed to be hard, and it is hard. But when you're competing against Jimmy Johnson, when you're competing against Jeff Gordon, when you're competing against the best of the best, everybody is trying to find an edge somewhere. And the edge is not in being in a race car, because you can't be in a race car all week long. It's impossible. It's physically, it's financially, all those things, it's impossible. So to make up for that, you have to be better in other areas. So there's a lot of mental preparation, there's a lot of physical preparation, there's a lot of nutritional preparation. There are a lot of things that go on during the week that I don't think people realize, and keeping that commitment up is harder than showing up at the racetrack motivated. But you can't, if you're not doing those things right, you can't come here and compete on a Sunday.
And I think that's what the fans don't see. And you brought up a great point, and that is you have to watch video. I didn't realize that you drivers actually watch, you know, just like a football team does or a boxer does. You guys watch video from previous years.
Let me tell you something. If you're willing to learn and you're willing to get better, there's a lot of ways to do it. But you got to be willing to do it. And if you're not willing to do it, you're not going to. But you can have spurts of success, but you're not going to have continued success. Jimmy Johnson, everybody talks a lot about Jimmy, and you know, some people, oh, he's been lucky or whatever. Let me tell you something. That guy trains like an animal. He prepares diligently. He's done it right, and his results show. A lot of people, and I think I'm one of them, you know, put the same effort in away from the track and haven't had the result. But I don't think Jimmy would have the result he had if he hadn't been willing to show the commitment and do the thing. What are you willing to give up to be successful? And he's been willing to give up and sacrifice in order to be successful.
They say that life is 10% of what happens to us and 90% of how you react to it.
Well, you know, in my world, if you're always waiting for something to blame, then why get up in the morning? If you can't take ownership in what's going on in your life, then you're done. Because there's only one person. Don't get me wrong. Other people can affect what happens to me today on the racetrack. A lot of that I can't control. What I got to be prepared to do is control the things that I can't control. And if I don't take ownership of my mistakes, if I don't take ownership of what I do well, then I can never be as good as I need to be. And I just think that that attitude is what's required.
Jeff, there's a lot of young guys out there and women. What kind of advice would you give them if they wanted to become a driver?
Well, first of all, the commitment has to be there. It's you have to be willing to sacrifice everything, and without that, because there's people that will, and without that, and the thing that I don't like about our sport is that in every other sport, if you're good, you can get a chance. There's a lot of people that are running short tracks around this country that have every right and every business to be right here running today, and they've never gotten a chance. And so, if you're trying to be a race car driver, you have to accept the fact that the chances of you being at this level is very, very, very slim. You think of all the race car drivers in the country, in the world for that matter, and think about how many are here today. I mean, it's rare when you actually can make it here. And I think you have to understand that. But you can't get into racing thinking about being here today. You got to get into racing because you love doing it. And if you love doing it, you never got here on Sunday. It doesn't matter. If you love doing it and you have a passion. When I started racing, people don't believe this, I never thought about driving at the Cup level. That was never my dream. My dream was just to go race. And as opportunities presented itself, then that became my dream. But it only became my dream like the year before I went into Cup. I had a one-shot ride at New Hampshire, went up there and qualified 5th, I think. Wrecked in the third lap or something. But that showed me that you can go fast enough to do this. Maybe I ought to look into that. That was the first time I ever even thought about running Cup, because I just want to race, and I think that's real important. Is you have to have a passion for it, and don't go into it thinking I'm going to be a Cup driver, I'm going to be a nationwide driver. Just go into it thinking I love doing what I'm doing.
I think that's in life too. It doesn't matter what you want to do.
That's right. That's right.
Cooking or whatever. What do you like to do when you're not racing? Like, what are your hobbies?
Well, I've got a 15-year-old daughter, so I'm pretty good at loading guns. We don't take a lot of crap at my house. So between a 15-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son, my hands are pretty full. Honestly, their hobbies are my hobbies. My daughter really loves horses. My son races quarter midgets, and so that's all the time I have for anything. So if they're doing something, I'm doing it with them. That's my hobbies.
Well, Jeff, they're telling me that my time's up with you, and I just want to thank you, and good luck today. Let's give Jeff Burton a big round.